It's the beginning of weekend, and I don't want you guys to, make bored. So let's make this interesting and try to have a very good start for this weekend with a very informative session, and I'll make it much more interactive, and I'll try my best to share my experience in this area. Which can be beneficial for all of us. Alright, so my name is Niraj, and I'm one of the co-founder of this organization called DataMetica. It's a big data company. We don't do anything else. So any experience that, or anything that you hear from me is only about big data and related technology. We have done a fantastic job, at least I think it is a fantastic job. In this industry, we increased the adoption. We have really solved the real problem which industry enterprises are facing towards the data. We'll see what are problems that it solves. So as of now, you might have studied or might have gone through a lot of newspaper, a lot of articles, technology or any kind of thing, wherein you might have studied how technology is solving the problem. While this presentation in 1 hour, I am trying to help you to understand not as a technology how it is solving the problem, but this framework itself, the big data framework, and the concept, how we have really solved this particular problem in enterprise, and what kind of problems are they facing. Well, so today's topic is big data governance. Before I go ahead and explain, governance is a very vast topic. So before I go and explain the governance, I would like you guys to tell me who all are using big data today. Can you raise your hands who all are using big data today? All right, very few. All right, I'll try my best to set the context from basics, and then I'll go towards the governance slowly. All right. This is me. We will move to the next. All right. So this is our focus area. Focus area in terms of the organization, what we do today, and you can see we set up the modern data platform. We do DevOps. We do lots of legacy modernizations. We do managed metadata, data science visualizations, and big data managed services. This is a DataMetica services. I don't want to sell those. But why I have put this particular slide is, these are the buckets that you are going to have really take advantage of a really big data ecosystem. So we all know that we all are facing problems with the data. Facing problems with the data meaning is our business, our enterprise is, let's say, a decade old, 10 years, more than 10 years old. Now we have more than 10 years worth of data, and we would like to extract the knowledge. We would like to learn from the data how it is going to give uplift to the business. Well, we do have technologies we have been doing since long. But what's the problem that we started facing? Take one very classical example. We started with the transactional system wherein our applications are storing the data. Our databases are storing the data and applications are running on top of it. We all know that model. But when we started exploring how to extract the knowledge out of that, out of those transactional systems, databases, we started facing challenges because of locking, because of the performance. At the same time that those applications were running, users were connected, we were not able to churn that data, right? Because your analytics needs compute. That's fine, we extracted those all data and we implemented architectural pattern called ETL. ETL is one of the architectural pattern which allows you to extract the data and put it into one place. We call that as a data warehouse. We all know this word, data warehouse, right? So we extracted all the data from all the databases. Sham, you may take a chair because in back people are not able to see this. Sorry. So we extracted the data from all the sources, and then we put it at one place. Now, why did we do that? Why did we do that? Because of have all the data collected from all different data sources at one place, so that we can join those data together. We can process the data together. In other words, I'm trying to tell you, sales data will be joined with your purchase data, with your finance data, with your HR data. Hence, you may get a very integrated view of data analytics, right? This is why we started with the data warehouse. Well, this concept ran really well since 21 years now, right? It has been great success. But think about this, for big enterprise, right? When we are talking from collecting data from all the source systems, putting it into one particular platform, don't you think you are expecting, here we are talking about a lot of data, right? So processing that much amount of data is really a pain, right? And especially when I started my career, I can tell you the type of questions which business was asking was very basic. Which customer, what kind of age group was doing what kind of shopping. But the kind of questions that business is asking today is completely different. They're asking, hey, you know what, when a customer went to a store, what is he going to buy? Can you tell me? I mean, now business is not asking the question what happened. They're asking what is going to happen, as if it's an astrology, right? It's very tough for technology to answer, but it is not impossible. Even if you look at any science that is there today, I always talk about this, and you may take one example real time, that is astrology, right? All the predictions are based on the patterns, based on the behaviors, what happened in past. Learn from that and then use that experience, formulate an equation which will answer your next activity, what is going to happen. That's good. Can we use that? Learn from the data itself and formulate an equation and then pass the new value, it will give you altogether new results. If we try to do that, trust me, I'm talking about processing all the historical data that you are having. That is huge volume, right? So collecting all the data onto one platform, that will make you to think whether to use a relational database system or not, right? Because all the relational database systems are designed, to process the data in a very particular way. Maybe most of them are onto structured data set. But since we are talking about what people are talking on Facebook, right? What people are talking about, on Twitter, what my customers are doing, that comes out of your transactional data set. Let's marry all this data together. Let's stitch this all data together and try to see what is coming out. Especially when I don't know what I'm interested into, right? I'm going to let my data know what is going to happen. It means you are talking about permutating and combining a lot of data use cases. So we thought of, as an industry, can we distribute the storage, can we distribute the computations? And this is where, I was working with AC Nielsen and on one of the project in early days, 2000, this is a story of 2010 or 2011. And we stumbled upon Hadoop. And Hadoop was very new by that time. Not a lot of people were knowing about it. We took code from open source community and we compiled it. We started getting a lot of bugs. We made it running. But think about it. The distributed compute framework that we had written to process that data was taking more than 7 days to process 1 day or 2 days of data. But when we used Hadoop by that time, it was a great success. We were able to process that particular data into 7 hours. Okay? So 2 days versus 7 hours, it's a huge benefit, right? So, and I know, like me, there were many architects who faced this particular challenge and they learned how to use Hadoop and why to use Hadoop. We do have great success. We don't have any question about it. It's not a hype at all. Okay, we learned how to use Hadoop and why. Because of the data and because of the nature, because of the demand, the type of questions that people are asking. Good. Do you think, so one of the things that I explained, we started collecting a lot of data onto one particular platform. Let's call that the big data platform. But don't you think big data platform is a big target? can be a big target because we are getting finance data, we are getting HR data, we are getting sales order, we are getting work order, we are getting purchase order, we are getting a lot of other data sets. So rather than hackers going on to one particular data mart, one subject area, now hacker will go to one platform, right? And can get all the data sets. Especially when the notion of an enterprise is to let's collect all the data onto one platform. That platform we call it as a modern data platform. It's not at all Hadoop, right? It's a cluster, a lot of other computers connected together, we call as a cluster, and we install software on top of it. Hadoop is one of the software. Don't get confused with big data and Hadoop, right? Hadoop is one of the software which you can install onto the clustered environment. Like that, you may install Spark, you may install a lot of other software, you may build your own, right? But if it is solving this sort of problem, you may qualify that into a big data ecosystem. Yes, now we have a platform. And the idea is to invite all other data consumers in my company to that particular platform to make use of that data. It means I have to have such a framework which really allow you to govern this access, data ingestion patterns, data processing patterns, security, and anything that people are doing, we need to trace that, what they are doing. And trust me, data leakage is a huge problem today. Every other day you are seeing lot of data centers, lot of computers, databases are being hacked. Especially when you have collected all the data onto one platform, how are you going to solve that particular problem? This is the target of today's topic. I wanted to give you a very generic and very basic awareness. I will not go through the details. So that you will have a very common understanding why big data. Probably now you have a better understanding why big data, why we are here to even listen to this particular topic. And then once this big data is there, why governance is needed. I mean, many people come back to us today, and being an entrepreneur, I always get this question: I'm not getting access to this particular system. I'm not getting access to this particular system. What to do with that? Yes, you are not getting because of you are not authorized, because of the policy doesn't allow you to do that. And why we have done that? Because of the governance. We are trying to enable governance, and it's a good thing in the enterprise, right? I was talking to one of the CEO, basically it's an Indian company, and he told me one statement which I liked. And like this, there are many statements, but one of the statements that he was talking about, data is the only IP in this world. There's nothing second IP. Right? Intellectual property that you were talking about, because business generates that data, they own it. It's not Java program generates the data, right? Business generates the data. And that's the only IP. You take your IP and you can extract anything what happened, what is going to happen, and that is your future. I mean, that is your company's future. If it is a future, let's see how we are going to make use of it. Yes, in order to make that happen, in order to make that journey success of business intelligence or maybe data analytics, data science, machine learning, we all hear that term very frequently. But if these are the frameworks which will take me to the next level, business to the next level, then obviously I will have to invite, I'm talking about inviting all my corporate data consumers onto one particular platform. Let's see how they are going to make use of your data. This is a framework which will help a lot of operational things. Being a developer, you are developing your code, but from development environment all the way to the production, there has to be some type of automation. There has to be some approval workflow. There has to be some type of automated, integrated, development environment which can be continuously monitored, continuously validated. So those are all things that will allow you to do those sort of development tests and run a lot of other things. Will fall under DevOps practices that we call it as. Don't get confused with multiple names that you hear today. Hadoop Ops, DevOps, Production Ops, Analytics Ops, and all those things. One thing that you need to think today is anything that is helping you to make easy interaction with your data platform, right? If you are trying to automate that, you may bring it into this particular area. And people have different qualifications. Legacy modernization is another thing that people are trying to use, wherein one of the thing why people are using big data is to save the cost, right? If you are processing your data onto mainframe, trust me, each MIPS are really expensive. It's very expensive hardware to process your data, right? So if it is not really needed, it's not really this type of operations, then can we do it in a very cheaper environment? So we all realize that it is going to be a very expensive infrastructure, those mainframes, Teradata, Netija, and we compared this cost with big data ecosystem. We found this is much more scalable, this is much more inexpensive to do your data processing, right? So we started, I have seen the pattern wherein people started migrating all their legacy applications, especially into analytics area, onto big data ecosystem. Metadata management I will touch later. Integrated project delivery, I don't want to explain that, you all know as this term explains. Application and infrastructure maintenance services. So when big data came into picture, it actually changed the whole arena of this application maintenance. Have you ever heard about people started collecting the logs, the server's logs, and started processing, right? And can anyone tell me what kind of processing that they do on the logs? Why do they process the logs? Have you ever heard about a tool called Splunk, Hum? What it does? Why do we use that?
For searching, for indexing.
All right.
For indexing actually.
All right. So I promised myself I will not be so technical. So let's answer this in a very layman term. Anything that happens on a server, it is being logged, right? It is being logged on a file. If I can take that particular file, I can tell you how many times this server has failed. What was the failure rate? And if I know in a week maybe 4 times it is failed, if I know unauthorized person is trying to access that particular server and there was a failure attempt in the logging, I can be better proactive. I can take the proactive measures to protect that, right? But if you don't have a mechanism to window that particular log file, which actually tells the real story, you will never be able to solve that particular problem. Do you think it's a really fantastic use case for big data? Yes, right? Why? Because big data, because the log file size is really huge. I'll tell you, I'm not going to tell the company name, but I'll tell you one of the mobile vendors company that we were talking about to get their data in States. Their per hour size was more than 600 GB log size. More than 600 GB per hour, then multiply by 24. Will you be able to process that much of data in one day? 1 day of transactional log can you process in 1 day? When I say process, meaning is not to convert into one structure to structure, but to do the analytics as well. It's not possible, right? And this is where we started stumbling upon Hadoop use cases, and this has been a great success. So the way you do the application and infrastructure maintenance success, Hadoop has changed a lot of things, and you put your services around it, cluster support, maintenance support, and a lot of other things. And why it is complicated as well, because now you are not talking about providing the support for one server. It's a clustered environment wherein 3,000, more than 4,000 servers are running together. And it's a commodity hardware expected to fail. And since it is expected to fail, what all things that you can do to take a proactive measure to control that? It's very important to make your system available. That's fine, this is a great tool, great framework, it can solve your purpose, but if its availability is down, it is not available all the time, then it's a question mark for the success, right? So, and trust me, Hadoop is a great success, but it is complicated to operationally run it in production, okay? It needs really good experience, and you know the answer, because it is a huge cluster, not one machine. Machines will fail, but the good thing is Hadoop has its own failover mechanism, Hadoop has its own load balancers, Hadoop has very smart workload manager, which actually help you to manage all those things. Anyways, I'll move to the next slide. We did speak about it, and why I keep these 4 things, not to explain what it is, because the terms are really self-explanatory. Think about Because of these reasons, you started collecting data from all of your source system, plus public data, which is from Facebook, plus exposing the services outside for the data consumptions, right? I mean, I heard someone was asking, have you actually exposed your API for the data consumers, right? I mean, that's the very general way to how we provide our services. But if you expose your API for data consumptions or your services consumption, then the question is, how are you protecting those access as well, right? It has to go through a data protection layer, not to data protection layer, but it has to be well audited, well governed. It has to be well authorized, right? How many of you have heard about injections, SQL injections? Okay, all right. So what is it? I'm trying to accept a parameter, and if somebody will write a delete statement or truncate statement in between, it may execute as an executable. It may execute, I'm not sure when. But yeah, it may execute. So how to protect that particular thing? And think about this. I mean, think like that's the way to access, right? Then here, if I expose my services, that is also one of the threats that I can expect. Right? And hackers are really smart how to push my executable onto your particular platform. So big data is a big target because I can get all the data at one place, all your analytics, right? Which you have been trying to reach, and I can expose that data. I have to be super careful to do that. Let's see what are the things that we need to do to make it really governed, right? So if I go to the next slide. We all know why we need governance, right? Do we all agree we need governance or no? Yes? And do you think governance stops the innovation? How many of you think governance stops the innovation? Reduces the innovation? What is innovation? Innovation is something that comes from inside. It's a very brilliant, so there is a difference between discovery and innovation, right? So I'm talking about innovation, wherein you took 4 things which is already available and made such a use case which is a great success, giving a very fantastic uplift to your business. Right? One idea or any idea can be very innovative, right? So if I not give you access 100% on my platform, do you think it will stop innovation? No? Maybe I'm not able to put my questions right. Anyways, I'll come to that topic later. But these are the topics that I have thought of covering today at a very high level. I'll keep a watch on the time as well. So